Greta Thunberg. Now, of course, you know, she's the 16-year-old girl that has taken the world by storm for her climate activism. And she was just recently at a UN National General Assembly. And she spoke about how leaders who are not doing anything about climate change are robbing the future. So that means everybody should be attacking her as much as possible, making fun of her disability, insulting her personally, etc. But what would be a better, proper way of looking at this? Well, one, insulting kids doesn't really accomplish anything at all other than to make you look like a petty asshole. So, it's very clear that Greta is being coached by people above her in charge of this campaign about spreading awareness and trying to get certain governments to take actions for climate change. Obviously, she is a spokesperson, someone who is told to say certain things for a particular viewpoint or a particular issue. That much is fairly obvious. I don't question the sincerity behind what she's saying, but let's face it, a spokesman for anything has that kind of, for the lack of a better term, bureaucracy behind it. And that's not anything unique. In fact, it's being done relatively differently than we have seen it done in the past. So that much is beyond question. Obviously, she works for somebody to spread that kind of message. But I think it's more important to really pay attention to what that message is. I mean, it's climate change, that thing that is going to wipe out 7 billion people from this planet. Now, I understand, like, if you're going to attack her because you don't believe climate change is real because you have some form of psychosis, then yeah, to you it would seem like this great terrible thing that's being done. But let's face this. There's something very, very important about this. She is going around the world, palling around with some of the worst polluters in the world, some of the biggest criminals in the entire world. Concerned about carbon emissions, talking to Obama, that big picture of her with Obama, the big, media moment for that. I would really like to know what it is they discussed. She probably gave some emotional speech about why climate change is so important. I'm sure that's probably what happened. But, Obama's the guy who spent a lot of carbons invading countries. What's the environmental damage behind the U.S. Army? Well, actually, the U.S. Army is the greatest polluter on the face of the planet, according to multiple reports. Now, try telling the United States government that it has to stop invading countries because you're killing the planet. Not that the fact that you're killing tens of millions of people, but you're killing the planet. And what is the environmental impact of the 26,000 bombs the U.S. dropped in 2016? It's interesting to be appealing to these people who have no conscience. And that's kind of one of the points that other people try to make. You can't appeal to the conscience of a person who doesn't have one. If Obama can ruthlessly slaughter all of these people, he doesn't care about the planet. Maybe he might care in some way that his daughters, whether or not they have a place to, live or exist. But I think you get my point. One of the things Greta's doing is talking to the worst people in the world who are the problem, and then talking to a lot of them like they're friends, like they're friends. But the point of doing that is to reach them on an emotional level about what's happening. But these people are soulless monsters to begin with. So I don't see how that's going to work, or however impassioned her plea is. And I'm sure it's very impassioned. It's not going to work. These people are the problem. This system is the problem. You are not going to appeal to the capitalist class to reduce making money, or in many cases, cease making money altogether, just to save the planet. This goes against the entire logic of capital. And you're not going to get them to suddenly want to do the right thing. Well, maybe you could, when it's already too late. It's bad enough that we have to deal with a huge portion of the U.S. population which denies that global warming even exists. Many of them relying on stories from the Bible about the world coming to an end being a good thing. Well, you know, you. I don't want the goddamn world to come to an end. All these people don't want to die because of your unprovable theory about Jesus Christ. The reality is, the very people that are behind her are the very same people that are behind the industries that are causing the industries and the system that's causing the problem to begin with. I'm sure she doesn't realize that. But that is the reality of the situation. No, she is being used. Of course she's being used. She's not being used in really any way different than any other spokesperson has ever been used. The only difference is that she's underage, which does add a certain dynamic to the situation. But I mean, for all the good intention there, and climate change is a real thing that needs to be addressed, you're not going to get it done under capitalism. Capitalism cannot do it. Then people turn around and say, yeah, but, revolution's not going to happen anytime soon, so we have to do it under capitalism. See, that's kind of the problem, is that capitalism isn't going to do it. And pointing to the difficulty in carrying out revolution isn't going to change that. That's kind of the point that I've always tried to make. We're in a lot of danger here, and Greta technically is helping. The movement that she's a part of is technically helping. But we do have to realize exactly what it is. It's nothing more than liberal reformism, which has essentially solved no major problems like this before and never will. Because it would have to, in the end, go against the very interests of the capitalist class, the people who really control and own this world. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.